Hi everyone, it's dessert time. I'm going to be making a traditional, or should I say classic, apple pie. Some people like to use the same apples. I like to mix it up a little bit. I put like 3 Granny Smiths, 3 Galas, and 3 maybe Braeburns, or these are Fuji. You could use whatever you want. You could use all Fuji, all Gala, all Granny Smith. As I said, I like to mix it up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel these apples. I have my little handy slicing and peeling machine. I'm going to put it in a large bowl. And then I'm going to show you what I put on top of the apples and how I mix them. And I let them sort of marinate in there for about an hour or so, and when I make the pastry for the crust. Now, sometimes I make apple crumb, but today I'm making plain apple. What happened was, I learned to make apple pie when I was in 6th grade economics class. I was 10 years old. I came home with a sample, gave it to my mother, and she fell in love. My mother and her whole entire family, they were all sweet eaters. They have their little cup of tea or their cup of coffee at night with dessert. My mother used to send me to all different pastry stores when I was growing up in East Harlem. She'd send me to one for a Fouilladelle. She'd send me to another one for cannolis. She'd send me to one for a cheesecake. She had her specialty at each store. And I was a little go-getter. So when I brought home the apple pie, she was ecstatic. Although she didn't tell me, my mother never complimented. A very bad trait. Anyway, whenever she had the urge for an apple pie after that, she would say, Hedy, make me a pie. Make me an apple pie. And she never really complimented me on it. But I found out from her sisters that she would tell them, oh, she made me an apple pie, it was delicious. That's how I found out, through my aunts. Anyway, this is a little gadget I bought. I love it because it does the job. It peels and slices all at the same time. So what you have to do is get that in there. And there's a little lever here. You have it here and you push it over, and it sucks it has suction, so it stays so it stays stable. In the meantime, this is what happens. Isn't that wonderful? And now all you have to do is slice it. Sometimes there's a little peels here and there, but basically, I love it. And so I peeled the apples and I cut them.
Basically cut it into
fours? Yes, I cut it in 4s, yeah. And when I'm done with this, I'll come back and show you what I put on top of the apple mixture. Okay, so I have 9 apples in here, and if you don't like too many apples, you can put less, but I have all my ingredients here. This is a cup of fine sugar. Okay, 1 cup. This is a little salt.
A little, how much?
It was like a half a teaspoon, just to bring out the sugar. This is a half a stick of butter, sweet butter, cut up. I put it all over and then you mix it in. This is flour. You could use cornstarch, but the cornstarch I think makes it too thick. This is 4 tablespoons of flour. This is so the liquid gets a little, it's not too liquidy. It coagulates a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we got you.
This is a teaspoon, a little bit more of cinnamon.
Yeah, it's some teaspoon.
And I like to use the fresh nutmeg. Not a lot, maybe like a quarter of a teaspoon. Okay. You mix all this together and let it stay for about an hour. So all the juices from the apple mix together with the flour and the sugar. And every once in a while, you go back and you give it a stir. This comes out delicious. Now, I'm also going to give you the recipe how to make the crumbs. You only need one of the shells. Now, sometimes I make, when I make a batch of pastry, I make two. So if you're doing a cover on top, like an apple pie, you have the bottom and the top, you need two. If you're doing like a crumb, or you're doing a lemon meringue, or a coconut custard, or a pecan pie, you don't need that top. So what I do is, I take the second one, I put it in a pan, I cover it, and I freeze it. And then I have a crust ready for whenever I need it. Coconut custard, I love coconut custard. Pecan pie, I'm gonna make one near the holidays. They're delicious. So you just leave it here on the side, and I'll be back when I'm ready to make the pie crust. So I'm gonna make the pastry crust now, the pie crust. I have 2½ cups here of all-purpose flour. This is 2 sticks of sweet butter, cubed and cold. I had it in the refrigerator.
Has to be cold?
Has to be cold. The coldness makes the pastry flakier. If it's too warm, it won't be flaky. It'll be like gooey. You don't want gooey pastry or pie crust. So I mixed it around. This is a tablespoon of sugar, a teaspoon of salt, and I put in for luck a tablespoon of white vinegar and 1/2 cup of cold water, as cold as you can get. Then pulse it. Don't mix it too long, because you want to keep some of the butter, like in little, you see little chunks of butter in the dough. That's good. That'll make it flake. So this is what it looks like. When you put it together, you'll see the little pieces or the little chunks of butter in there. So I'm gonna split this in half. I'm gonna make one a teensy bit bigger than the other for the bottom. And then we're gonna chill it for about a half hour. You'll see it'll come together. See? One will be for the top and one will be for the bottom. Okay, this is a lot more. Press it together like that. Now, if you don't want to go through the trouble of making your own crust, you can buy the pre-made ones. Not the same. Some of them are good. I mean, Pillsbury usually has it, but this is a little smaller, so I'll use this for the top and this one for the bottom. I'm going to put them in the fridge, and when they're chilled about a half hour, I'll come back and roll it out and put the apples in the shell. See you then. Okay, so I took the pastries out of the fridge. I have my rolling mat. We're going to roll this out. If you look a little closer, you'll see the little bits of butter in the dough. That's a good thing. I'm just gonna roll it out, and when it's all rolled out, I'll come back. Okay, so it's all rolled out. I'm gonna spray my pie pan.
Oh.
Oh!
Spray me.
It's very delicate, so you gotta be careful. Okay, so I had to put the dough back in the refrigerator. It wasn't chilled enough. As a result, it was falling apart. It's a little better now, but I still have to make some adjustments here. Put some air pockets here. Take the apples. As you can see, there's a lot of moisture. And the flour will make that thicken. I don't know if I'm going to put all this liquid in there and make the bottom of the crust soggy. We're going to have this tomorrow, so when it's done, I'll show you what it looks like. Won't be able to taste test it tonight. I'm going to fill the pie pan up, and then I'm going to roll out the top, and I'll be back. Okay, so I have it rolled up. Ha! Okay. You take all the excess off. I'm going to put this in the oven at 425 for 15 minutes, and then lower the heat to 350 for another 45. And it should come out golden brown. If it's not as brown and as golden as you'd like, then leave it in for another 10 or 15 minutes. But when you see it bubbling, all the juices bubbling, then it's pretty much ready. And I put it on a tray, so if the juices come out,
Don't get it
they
everywhere.
won't go all over the stove. So just take it and tuck it under. And then you can make a fancy little edging. I usually pinch it like this. Well, this nail is a little long. This finger is not so long. All around like that. Or you could use a fork and pinch the fork, however you like to do it. Apple pies are not the easiest to do. It's all in the crust. It's really all in the crust. As I said, if you don't want to be bothered, you can get the pre-made ones. But I like to make my own. And then a little air here. In the oven at 425 for 15 minutes. And then the rest 45 at 350. And when it comes out, I'll show you what it looks like. So I've taken it out of the oven. It's been in there an hour, 15 minutes at 425 and 45 minutes at 350. It looks wonderful. It smells wonderful. We're gonna have it tomorrow, and it's always best to make it the day before. Or you could make it in the morning and have it in the evening. It needs at least 8 to 10 hours to settle, for the juices to thicken. It's just better that way. So until next time, when I'll be having hopefully some wine. I'm on a diet. If you notice, no glass of wine. You can't have wine with dessert anyway, so maybe you should have a cup of coffee. But anyway, until next week, I'll be making a strawberry shortcake. See you then. Strawberry shortcake. Until then. Until then, have a great week. See you next week.